What if the German High Command learned the war was already lost? Not from a battlefield defeat, but from a stack of accounting sheets. November 12, 1943, inside a dim, smoke-filled room of the Bendler Block in Berlin, headquarters of the German Army's intelligence branch. Two of the Wehrmacht's most respected analysts sat motionless over a pile of captured American paperwork. Colonel Reinhard Gehlen, Chief of Foreign Armies East, and Colonel Alexis von Roen of Foreign Armies West were men trained to live by logic, graphs, and confirmed data. Yet what lay in front of them was more terrifying than any intercepted battle plan. It was not a map, not a decoded radio message, not a secret offensive order. It was a logistics report, routine, bureaucratic, stamped, signed, and dull. And in its rows of fuel tonnage, ammunition allocations, ration schedules, and spare parts totals lay a truth so catastrophic that even trained analysts had trouble believing it. The United States was supplying a single corps in Italy with more ammunition than Germany was able to send to the entire Eastern Front. In the same span, Gehlen stared at the figures, went pale, and finally whispered, "This cannot be accurate." But von Roen had already checked, repeatedly, against reconnaissance imagery, fuel records, neutral state imports, and Pelabodri debriefings. There was no error. The industrial imbalance was no longer a theory. It was arithmetic. What the Germans had dismissed 3 years earlier as American fantasy now stood proven in ink. In 1940, when Roosevelt told Congress the U.S. would build 50 Zolos an aircraft a year, Jew Ring publicly laughed. Americans build razor blades and refrigerators, not airplanes. And at the time it sounded true. In 1939, the U.S. Army was 18th in the world, its tanks obsolete, its industry civilian. But the Great Depression had unknowingly primed the United States for total war. Dormant factories, idle assembly lines, and millions of trained workers waiting for a switch to flip. When rearmament began, America did not need to build industry. It only needed to wake it up. Germany, by contrast, had been running hot since 1933. No spare factories, no idle workers, no new capacity without conquest or slavery, and time, once their weapon, had turned against them. By 1943, the evidence could no longer be dismissed, where a U.S. corps in Italy burned through 3.2 million gallons of gasoline in a month, more than Army Group Center received while fighting the Soviets. The U.S. troops defeated at Kasserine were fully resupplied within days, something the Germans could not do for entire formations in months. A U.S. production of tanks jumped from 4,000 in 1941 to 37,000 in 1943. Aircraft output soared past 85,000 planes a year, outbuilding the Luftwaffe 5-1. The Liberty ships were being completed faster than boats could sink them. An industrial checkmate in the Atlantic. By the time Germany reached its own production peak in 1944, the United States had already passed it and doubled it. In that small office on Termstrasse, Gehlen and von Roen finally understood what their generals did not. Germany was not losing to bravery, to tactics, or to generals. It was losing to multiplication tables. The war was no longer about strategy, but about throughput. Who could replace what was lost faster? The Americans could replace in 1 month what took Germany half a year to manufacture. That gap was not closing. It was widening. When the two men pushed the documents aside, the realization sat in the room like a verdict. Germany's defeat was not a possibility. It was a scheduled event. America won World War II not only on beaches and in skies, but in the roar of assembly lines and the relentless arithmetic of supply. In the end, Germany did not fall to soldiers. It fell to mathematics.